Welcome back to Simply Forex. Trader Tom here, and I hope you all had a lovely, nice weekend. I haven't seen you since Thursday. So yeah, hope you're all well, guys. Hope you're having a good trading week, although things have been a little bit crazy, right? The market Monday was crazy, right? And we're going to look at why it was crazy, and we're going to look at all of these gap ups and gap downs and what we can do with them as well, guys. All right, so we're going to take a look at all of that. We're also going to do some in-depth market analysis. I'm going to show you all of the trade ideas that I'm looking at. I'm not actually in a trade yet because we've had all of this, craziness. And what else are we going to do? We're also going to look at the news, guys, as well, right? Because we've got important US dollar data coming out at hour. So if someone could please remind me about the news. And if we just take a quick look at that, guys, you can see we have CPI. So we basically have inflation coming out for the US. And inflation continues to be very important, guys, right? It really affects the interest rates as well, right? So, yeah, we'll look at that at hour. Has this catched up? Shall I? It is hour. Yes, it is. Good. We've also had some pound and euro news come out earlier, guys. Worth pointing that out. We had sort of a mixed bag of pound news, right? And we had a bit of a mixed bag of euro news. And to be honest with you, we've had no big euro or pound movements off the back of that, right? So, yeah, let's get started. So let's start with all the trades that I like for today, right? So if I just show you that quickly, guys, if you go to our free Discord channel, if you haven't joined it, please come join it. In here, I put all of my trade ideas for today, right? So you can see generally I'm looking at US dollar strength. Yeah, we've got a few US dollar pairs in here. And I'm also looking at a bit of Canadian dollar strength, right? CAD yen buys, Euro CAD sells, New Zealand CAD sells. So US dollar strength, CAD strength as well is the sort of catalyst for my trades for today. But I have entered none of them, right? So, there's one thing having a trade idea and a trade direction, but I need a setup, guys. And we just simply haven't had a setup yet. So while we're looking at this, let's look at CAD yen, right? So we know we've had these massive gap ups on Monday, pretty much across all currency pairs, indices, currency pairs, commodities. It was crazy gap day was Monday, right? It's going to be a public holiday in the UK. It should be public gap day. Anyway, that's where it gapped to. Yeah, because that's a red candle. That's where that candle opened, right? And let's measure that. That is a almost 90 pip gap up, right? So we've had some crazy gap ups, but you pick any one, right? Euro, Aussie dollar, right? Massive gap down. Remember, this is where that candle, started down here. So massive gap down. A US dollar pair we can look at. Not so much here, but again, we did still have a gap up, right? Let's look at pound US dollar, right? Because we had these big gap downs on the US dollar pairs as well, right? So you are aware we've had these gap ups and gap downs. Now, if we look at CAD yen for an example, right? Now, I want to buy CAD yen, right? So if we just look at the reasons why, right? We are clearly in an uptrend, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, higher lows, higher highs, clearly in an uptrend, right? We've also broken, let me drag this piece of support across, support and resistance, right? We've also broken a key level of resistance here, right? With this big candle. Now, normally, right, so I'd be looking for buys. Now, if we drop down to the H4, normally I'm looking for a retrace into value, right? So again, if we just track the H4, this is where we're at, right? So if price comes down into here somewhere, you can see my alarm is there, right? It's just an area I'm interested in. I won't enter at that alarm, right? It's just an area I'm interested in. When price comes down into there, you know, I'll stop picking my nose on the sofa and I will leap into action like Jackie Chan, right? And then, but then I say jump into action. Then I'm going to basically wait for a bullish candle, which could be another 4 hours. It's not, you know, it's not edge of your seat stuff, right? But that's trading, yeah? You just wait patiently for price to come into an area you're interested, and then you wait patiently for a nice bullish candle, right? And that's what I'm doing with CAD yen. So if price, you know, retraced into here, we got the moving average 20 catch up, we got this level here, right? This could be a really nice area for buys. But there's a but. Because of these bloody gap ups and gap downs, they just put an extra piece of doubt in your head. Because these gaps want to be filled. And you can clearly see this gap wasn't filled. Right? So normally I wouldn't hesitate and I would take this trade. But, you know, does price want to come down and fill this gap? And then we take off. So this is what is making the markets tricky for me, right? It was a crazy Monday open and, you know, CAD yen, US dollar pairs, they all shot off. And now I'm waiting for that retrace. But, you know, we still have some of these gaps that aren't filled. So this is where I find myself, and I just simply haven't had a setup as yet. So CAD yen, we're looking for a retrace into there. Guys, I will come onto the live chat very soon. I will say hello, take all of your questions. So guys, please remember for the next 40 minutes or so, you can ask me as many questions as you like. Literally as you like, and it can be about anything, yeah, hopefully trading, right? But you could ask me about, I actually need some help with some cooking. I'm going to ask you a question, but it can be about anything, guys, right? But we're here to talk trading. So there are a couple of pairs that are retracing nicely, not euro US dollar, pound US dollar, right? So pound US dollar I like for sells. This is the day chart. Right, you can see with this candle, we broke this piece of support through here. Let me put a support and resistance level in, right? And it's broken that level. Okay, this was proven to be good support on the daily. We got that, you know, crazy Monday, but we ended up with a very bearish pound US dollar daily candle. It's now retracing into this level. So I'm really interested in pound US dollar sells at the moment. And I will probably aim to take it down to 1.31, sorry. Because that's the next piece of the next psychological number, basically, right? But anyway, we got to wait for an entry. And H4, you can see, is retracing nicely. But pound US dollar somewhere in here. If I get a very nice bearish candle, I will start entering pound US dollar sells. I will take some profit at these lows, let some profit run. And it's the US dollar pairs that are interesting for me. There are interesting levels right now. New Zealand dollar, US dollar is another one. Right, again, if we look at the day chart, I think we've still got room to come down, right? And okay, and I always say on these live streams, never use the word think, right? I know that may seem strange, but in trading, don't think, trade your system, right? So let me just, I don't think New Zealand dollar, US dollar has more room to move into. I'm going to show you with facts why I think that, right? So first and foremost, we are in a downtrend. As soon as we broke that low, and I've got to tidy up some of these old levels, guys. I need to do a bit of spring cleaning. And there's definitely a level through here, right? Because that was the old Okay, so I put that level in to highlight this low, right? Because as soon as that breaks, we're in a downtrend. We're now getting lower lows, like pound US dollar. We've got this big bearish daily candle. And I think we have room to move back into, again, down to the next big psychological number, and this 0.58, right? Now, why do I think that? Let me back it up with facts. So daily's in a downtrend, but if you just look at the weekly, guys, right? The weekly, again, when I look at the weekly, guys, I'm looking at support and resistance, and I'm looking at the moving average 20, right? Because price wants to come back to the mean, and the moving average 20 is the mean, right? And we don't really have a key support level until this level here. So for that reason, price has lots of room to move into, and therefore I think it has, more room to the downside. All right, so New Zealand dollar, US dollar sells I also like. And then if we look at the H4, it's at a really nice level, right? We can see H4 trend is in a downtrend. We've retraced to this nice, what was once support becomes resistance. We've got the moving average 20 coming down as well. This is a very bloody nice level to sell at. Right, the only thing, the last piece of the jigsaw, if you like, is I'm going to wait for a bearish candle. Yeah, something like this. We've still got, 49 minutes left for this H4 candle to finish. And you'll notice also, guys, right, I've got an alarm in here, because if you go down to the H1, that, there's clearly a level here, right? It might respect this level for a bit, but as soon as it breaks that level, buyers have given up, right? Buyers are like, sod this, sellers are too strong, we're at a nice selling level. H1 buyers are giving up, H4 sellers are entering the market. And as soon as we break that level, I'll be very interested in selling New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That's a few of the trades that I am looking at. But enough about me. Let's look at what you guys want to look at. So let's see who's in the house. Brett. Afternoon, Brett. How are you, mate? Daniel's got a question for us. Hello, Daniel. Electrician. Who is an electrician? Good afternoon. Okay, so let's start with Daniel's question. Hello, Tom. Do you think pound Aussie dollar looks pucker for short? Yes, I do. This is pucker as a penny, sound as a pound. I like pound Aussie dollar sells. Okay, so if we go to pound Aussie dollar, okay, and again, guys, I apologize for my lack of bloody levels through here, but there's clearly a level through here, right? Clearly, right? It was resistance, it was support, it's become resistance. So this is a key level for pound Aussie dollar, right? On the daily chart. Not only that, right? At this level, price just farted about, right? That is a technical term. And then it broke these lows and that key support level. And then we started to get, now we've got lower lows, lower highs. So we're in a downtrend. And what I also like is price is coming below the moving average 20 here as well. All right, it's just another piece of confluence. If I want to sell the market on the daily chart, I want to be below the moving average 20, right? So yes. So there's some confluence, right? The only thing I don't like about pound Aussie dollar, and let's be honest, Monday was a bit of a buck wild, crazy day, right? But the only thing I don't like is this candle, right? It looks, well, it is bullish, right? And it's kind of rejected these lows down here, and we've pushed off that level. That's the only thing I didn't like about pound Aussie dollar, because I also like the H4, right? If we drop down to the H4, right, we was in this H4 uptrend, and then bang, right? We've been in a downtrend ever since. And what I also like about this is, look, this gap here got filled, right? So that takes away any doubt. Will the gap get filled? Will it not? It's been filled. So don't worry, fill your boots, right? Now, how I would trade this. Now I've given you all the facts, right? I've shown you all the facts of this chart, right? So let's recap, right? So on the day chart, okay, because I want it to become clear how I arrive at my decisions, right? So we're in a downtrend, right? We're below the moving average 20. I want to sell. We've bounced off of a resistance level. I want to sell. There's a little bit of doubt with this candle, right? We drop down to the H4. We are clearly in a H4 downtrend, right? So if you think about it, there is lots and lots of confluence to sell it. The only thing that puts me off is that daily candle. So what I would suggest is this, right? You know, because of that daily candle, price might range, right? Because it's a bullish daily candle, pound Aussie dollar might want to find its way, right? So far, it's looking pretty bullish candle. And if this candle finishes forming or finishes like that, that is bullish, right? So far, price is telling me, you know, it wants to retrace further. Now, does it want to retrace into here? Does it want to retrace back up to here? I don't know, right? Nobody knows. If anyone says yes, it will, don't talk to them ever again. But these candles are telling us it's going to come back further. Now, all I'll be looking for is a big bearish candle, right? Does the big bearish candle form up here, right? Or does it happen a bit before then, right? Maybe at the moving average 20. Now, because of that big bullish daily candle, either way, right? Even if I start selling here on that candle or this candle happens, I'm still putting my stop loss above here because of that green candle, right? So there's one way to trade pound Aussie dollar. Another way to trade it is, you know, we get a break of this, we get a break out of this level, and it confirms the H4 downtrend. And then we get a retrace and carry on selling it that way. So they're the scenarios that play out in my head. If that happens, I will do this. If that happens, I will do that. So yeah, let's see. It's just that daily candle. So yeah, Daniel, I hope that helps you. Right, Brett's got a question here as well. So what are your thoughts on gold? Okay, we'll take a look at gold. Colin, how are you? How was your holiday? Looked bloody wonderful. How was Monday trading? We don't talk about Monday. No, I'm only joking. It just didn't trade, right? There was too many gap ups, gap downs. Yeah, didn't trade Monday. It was too volatile. I did actually close a Canadian yen buy trade in very nice profit because yen pairs were so weak. But yeah, that was a trade from Friday. But Monday, we were scared of the market. And it's okay to be scared of the market on those days, right? Stay away from them. Yeah, scared's probably the wrong word, right? Don't be scared of the market. But days like that, the market is like, Tom, do not get your toes burnt. Stay away, right? Have a day off. Go, I don't know, have coffee with friends, take your daughter out, you know, do something else. Stay away. There's some shit going down. Right, also got in Scott. How are you, Scott? Paramdeep, how are you? So let's start with gold. Right, so Brett wants to take a look at gold. Before we do, guys, if I could please just ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. While you smash that like button, I'm going to have a drink of water. Also, guys, if you haven't already, please don't forget to join our trading community. It is free. So come join our free Discord channel. You can speak to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas, have a chit chat. What's not to like? Also, guys, if you join our free Discord channel, we will give you a 50% off coupon for the Simply Forex Complete Trading course. No bloody brainer. Also, guys, if I could ask everyone to please check out our website. If you want access to all of our premium trading education, including the course, including the VIP Trading Academy, and including my mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one, then please go check out the website, www.simply-forex.com. Yeah, check it out. Also, guys, today's live stream is brought to you by Pepperstone. If you look above my head, guys, they are going to offer you a subscription to an essential TradingView account, and we are going to give you access to the VIP Trading Academy if you sign up with Pepperstone today. So if you've got a broker, swap them, or if you're looking for a broker, look no further. You know, they're world-class, guys, and they're also compatible with TradingView, right? So what are you waiting for? And we just give you free stuff. Blinding. Right, guys, what we're going to look at, gold. You are gold. Let's do a top-down approach. Let's not mess around. Right, now, if we look at gold, right, we know every man and his dog and pretty much every central bank, right, has been buying gold, right, because it's flight to safety and the world has gone to shit, right? So everyone's been buying gold, okay? And the dollar was weak. There was many reasons, right? Many fundamental macroeconomic reasons, right? But doesn't matter. Gold was strong. But once you get up, once literally this 3,500 level, it touched to the pip and rejected massively, right? So at this very overextended level, we've had selling candle, selling candle. That is a selling candle and a selling candle, right? And I think because we have room down to the next logical piece of support, and we're nowhere near the moving average 20, it has more room to move into. Okay, so more downward pressure for gold, and we are seeing that US dollar strength, and we are seeing the indices recover, right? So that all leads into gold weakness. Okay, but let's carry on. Let's get more information, but the weekly's suggesting we got a bit more room to the downside. If we look at the day chart again, let me refresh these guys. Honestly, so there's become a level here. Now the problem with gold is this, right? And you could put in a level here. Let's put some levels in for Christ's sake. I'm going to put it up to there because we really need to include that wick, right? So this is where we're at, right? We're finding ourselves in potentially, right, a bit of a range. So even though that weekly chart is quite bearish to me, there's no opportunity here to sell it, right? Because this level here would be my weekly target. So let's imagine we get a bearish candle that breaks that level. This level here, there's no room, right? There's no value in taking that trade, right? So sells are a bit screwed. You know, maybe it blasts through this level, right? And price keeps coming down and gold's due a bigger retrace. But I would need to see that, right? I would need to see, you know, perhaps price does this, right? Reacts there and then breaks it. Okay, right? Then gold sells, right? But, you know, we could be waiting a long time for that. Now, the alternative is we are in an uptrend, right? Stroke range. So if we get a nice bullish candle off the bottom of here, we could look to buy gold, right? Potentially back up to these highs. But that doesn't really play into what we're seeing on the weekly chart. So for those reasons, gold has become tricky to trade. I mean, it's been tricky to trade for weeks. You're probably thinking, Tom, just buy it. It would have gone up. And there is an element of that. But technically, it's been difficult to trade. And it continues to be, right? Because of those weekly charts, my bias is to sell. But, even if we break this level, there's no room, right? So tricky. Let's have a look at the H4. Right, and it's clearly coming down. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how price reacts at this level. Right, if we start to see this, and this level holds, and then we get a break of H4 structure, then okay, it could be a nice intraday buy trade. Right, but even if it breaks this level, there's no room there. Right, it's tricky. And just going back to my point, gold has been tricky to trade, is because it has moves like this. Right? That's hard to trade. This, right, starts at the same spot and finishes at the same spot, right? Ends here, they both start down here. That is bloody easy to trade, right? You buy in here somewhere. Right, you buy at value. Here, this one, where do you enter? Right, how can you protect your stop loss? Right, that's what I mean by tricky. So gold has been a, tricky trade. All right, and it continues to be so. Right, let's see what other questions and other peeps we have in the house. Okay, so Paramdeep saying, hey Tom, I'm waiting for New Zealand US dollar sales. Can you check that for me? Yes, certainly, Paramdeep. I am also looking for New Zealand dollar US dollar sales. Great minds think alike. Yeah, I mean, it's at a really nice level. So, this 5,800 level will be a nice target. The daily is breaking down. We actually looked at this earlier on, right? We've retraced into a nice level. What was once support becomes resistance, right? Plus, we have a nice big bearish candle from yesterday. Plus, there's more. Also, there were no gaps. This gap got filled, all good. We're in a H4 downtrend, right? We love everything about this. The only thing we haven't got is the bearish candle, right? And, these candles right here are not bearish enough. But if we get a nice big bearish H4 candle, I will be selling the living daylights out of this. All right, so Brandy, totally agree with you. Someone had a case of the Mondays, yes. Well, I think the whole global trading community had a case of the Mondays. Offman, how are you? Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're well. News in 2 minutes. Thank you, Brett. We will take a look at that, guys. Right, while we've got 2 minutes, don't faint, but I'm going to cook tonight, right, as a nice surprise. It may not be a nice surprise. And I'm going to cook a spag bowl, spaghetti bolognese. And you're probably thinking, Tom, a moron could cook that, right? But speak to me like I'm a moron, because I have no interest in cooking and I'm terrible at cooking. So what is some, I've still got mince, I've got a dolmio sauce, but what else should I put in that? I've heard people say grate a carrot, put an OXO cube in it, some peppers. So guys, we've got 30 seconds. Please help me out. Anyone got any secrets for a good spag bowl? I will have a drink while you tell me. Okay, Brett, just like trading, keep it simple. Chop tomatoes, onions, that's it. Lovely. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Right, let's have a look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar, but please keep your advice coming in with regards to spaghetti bolognese. Right, so we're going to play Guess the News. And straight away, we are seeing US dollar weakness, right? That is New Zealand dollar strength, US dollar weakness, right? That was the initial reaction. Okay, let's have a look at another pair. Let's have a look at US dollar CAD. So that is also US dollar weakness. Let's have a look at pound US dollar weakness. Let's have a look at euro US dollar. That is that is US dollar weakness. Let's have a look at Aussie dollar, US dollar. So Sherlock Holmes here, right, who can't even cook a spag bowl, is going to say that the news was worse than expected, right? Maybe one or two of them were worse than expected. Let's take a look. This is where I get egg on my face. Okay, they were all bloody terrible, right? But they weren't big misses, right? 0.3, 0.2, as expected, right? 2.4, 2.3. You know, they're only small misses. It's important to point that out, right? They're only small misses, but they are all negative. So we should be seeing some US dollar weakness, right? And we are. But it's not exactly, you know, yeah, I have to do sound effects. You know, let's have a look at euro US dollar, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not even, it's almost ignoring the news. So it's going to be really interesting to see what this next candle looks like on all the US dollar pairs. Because as I always say, guys, right, if the news comes out like that, like it did, right, let's go back to the economic calendar, right? So if the news comes out like this, and it's all pretty bad for the US dollar, right? That's all negative figures. Okay, so we're expecting to see immediate US dollar weakness, right? Now, if that doesn't happen, right, and this is euro US dollar, this next candle ends up looking something like this, right? Very bearish, then US dollar is strong, right? It's ignoring news, right? The powers to be are just ignoring the news. They're like, right, US dollar needs some strength, right? Because dollar's been so strong, so weak for so long, you know, when you see that US dollar strength come back in, there's bigger players pushing the market and keeping this US dollar strength going. So that's what happens when price ignores the news. So it'll be interesting to see how these hourly candles finish. Yeah, you know, yeah, let's see how they finish, guys. All right. Any more advice on spaghetti bolognese? Bolognese. Okay, so CJ, don't cheap out on the sauce. Okay, I will perhaps change my. I think it was Dolmio. Can't remember. Make your own sauce. Domio is crap. Brett, this is not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear you can put a sauce in from a jar. That's fine. Offhand, yeah, it was bad news, but US dollar is totally ignoring that. Heath, how the bloody hell are you, Heath? Haven't seen you for a while. Hi Tom. Hope you're well. Finally caught you. Yeah, good to have you back. And guys, yeah, like I say, don't be shy. Please leave as many questions as you like in the live chat, guys. I'm here to, answer as many as humanly possible. Did I miss any questions? Okay, Brett. Okay, I might take a look at them. Let's have a look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar, because we like this, right? Now, we've only got 25 minutes. Now, this is interesting, right? Now, we've only got 25 minutes left, right? But let's just say this candle finishes like that. Now, first and foremost, I like the fact that the wick has closed back into that high, right? And Brett will tell you the same. It's like it's sweeping some stop losses in here, right? And if we end with a wick and a candle that looks like this, but it's green, Is that bearish enough? Well, it becomes a bit of a judgment call, right? Now, yeah, this is interesting. Let's spend a little bit of time here, right? So let's zoom in. Let me do a proper good candle. So that'll be a first, right? But let's say we finish with a candle that looks like this, right? And it closes back into there, right? So ignore the current candle forming. We have a green candle that has finished like this, right? It's in a beautiful area. I've already explained why I like New Zealand dollar, US dollar sells, right? It's a really nice looking sell trade, right? And this H4 candle finishes like this. Okay, it may not. We're just talking hypothetically. This will be an interesting thing to explore. Now, would I start selling here and put my stop up, give it a bit of room and put my stop loss above the high of the entry candle? And the answer is no, right? Because of the US dollar news and because this H4 candle isn't super bearish, I wouldn't do that. Now, I may still sell here, right, at the close of that candle, but I would put my stop loss above this last H4 high, right? Now, obviously, that's going to make for a larger stop loss, and you need more room for this trade to move into, right? And I've already explained potentially this trade does have some more room to move into. So that's how I would play it in that situation. Now, let's imagine now you get a candle that ends up like this. I don't know if this is even possible where price is at. But let's say we end up with a candle like that that's super bearish, and that is a red candle. Then that's a bit different, right? But then I would start selling from there and put my stops above the high here, give it some room, 10, 15, 10, New Zealand US dollar, 10 pips, right? Give it a bit of room. But then I would put my stop loss here and not necessarily here, right? So it really depends on the quality of the candle. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. Now, if the candle finishes like this, right, not interested at all, right? That's a very bullish H4 candle. Not interested in the slightest. All right. So, and that can be the frustrating thing for new traders, right? You've done all your analysis on the daily chart, right? You've pinpointed this absolutely beautiful, wonderful level, which is this level here, right? You've been waiting patiently all day. The American market's about to open, right? And you're just like, right, I'm just waiting for a big bearish candle. And then news comes out for the US dollar and it's bad. And then you get a candle that does that. Right? That is patience and discipline, right? Don't start jumping in on candles like this. Right, you're like, oh, it's got a bit of a top wick. We're at a really nice level. I'm going to jump in. No, right? Wait for that candle confirmation. If you don't get it, tough luck. Don't matter how nice your level is. If price buggers off, you just leave it alone, right? You come back and, look for a new opportunity tomorrow. So yeah, it's looking like we won't be getting a bearish candle. That US dollar weakness is kicking in. Let's have a look at pound US dollar. Again, pound US dollar is another one, right? I really like this level. And again, right, it might, the market, let's keep on this theme, right? So the market may give you a candle like that, right? Pound US dollar finishes like that. The market absorbs that news. Right, CPI was a bit worse than expected, right? And then 4 hours later, the market gives you a candle like this in here, right? Still trade it. That news has been and gone. The market digested the news. It still gave you a big bearish candle. US dollar is still strong. Then we can start trading it. All right. So That's what I will be waiting for with these US dollar pairs. Right, what else? I need a drink of water, guys. Doing a lot of talking. Doing a lot of talking. I seem surprised. It's a YouTube channel. It would be very good if I just sat here in silence, would it? Maybe you prefer that. Right, what else we're looking at? ACDC XYZ. I don't know why I said Z. I'm English, but it rhymed better. Hi, how are you? Electrician, what do you mean that you will start selling? Do you have multiple entries? Okay, so that's a good question, electrician. So that's a good question, right? So let's go back to New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Now, let's say I get a candle like that, but it's pretty predominantly green, right? But it still closes back into that wick, and we're at a nice level. Now I'm thinking, look, it's bearish enough, right? It's bearish enough. I will start entering this trade. And then maybe I don't go in with 100%, right? Maybe I don't start selling here, stops above here, right? And start hitting this with 100%, right? Right. Let's just say your lot size, to keep it nice and simple, is one lot, right? Maybe I'll start selling here 0.5 lots, right? Then I'll see what price does between here and my entry. What price does in here may mean that I close my 0.5 early, right? If we see nothing but bullish candles, or at this high here, if we get another big bearish candle form, maybe I can hit it with the other 0.5. It would actually be more. It would be a larger, let's say 0.8, because you're closer to your stop loss. But, you know, maybe I hit it with a 0.8 trade, right? And then it comes down, right? Then you've got a really nice trade on your hands. So, yes, I build trades a lot. And guys, there is lots of tutorials in the VIP Trading Academy. You know, I know you have to pay for the VIP Trading Academy, right? It's $29 a month. But you get access to all the tutorials on building trades, or how I enter trades, or what my strategy looks like, right? So yeah, come join it, right? Check it out. You know, there's not probably not far off 100, but loads of tutorials in there, guys, on how I manage trades. Because it's one thing entering a trade, it's another thing managing your entry. And I will build a trade very often, right? And base it on what price action is telling me at that point, right? And this was an example we looked at here. So yeah, check it all out, guys. And also, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Also, come join our free Discord channel. Come join our trading community. It's free, and if you do, we'll give you 50% off our Simply Forex trading course. We'll give you a coupon. Also, guys, if you haven't already, please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com, for all of our premium education. And also, guys, if you're looking for a broker, look no further than Pepperstone, because we will actually give you access to all the tutorials for free if you sign up with Pepperstone, and they will give you a TradingView subscription, right? So yeah, no brainer. Poo Poppy, that is a big stop loss. Yeah, again, but the stop loss depends on the entry candle and how bearish that is. And then there's other things. You can wait for a retrace up the bearish candle, right? There's many ways. Yeah, there's many price action ways to take advantage of the trade, right? Okay, one last question here. Tom, if you had to trade just the majors or minors, which would you choose? Majors move better, but there are more minors. I would just trade the majors, really, because of the volume in the market. they move steadier, right? You know, something like pound Canadian dollar can whip 30, 40 pips. The majors don't have that volatility so much in them. They move a bit slower, and commissions and spreads, right? So I would trade the majors, yeah, 100%. Scott, I use the 20 moving average, yes, on H4 or above. Yeah, H4 and daily, really. But again, guys, it's all in our tutorials and everything. Anyway, guys, Brett's put a couple of links here. So there are some free trading courses on our YouTube channel. So go check them out. The links are below. But if you want access to, you know, all of our tutorials, please come join our VIP Trading Academy. And on that note, guys, I am going to love you and leave you. Wish me luck with the Spag Bowl, and I will see you next time, guys. All right, see you later. I've got to do this myself again because the editor is never here. We are going to fire him. End stream. There we go.